Before written language existed, before books, before history itself, there was a gesture in front of fire. Inside a prehistoric cave, a small human group returned from the hunt. Night fell. Flames cast moving shadows on the stone walls. Then someone stood up and imitated the animal they had killed, exaggerating its strength, its fall, its death. Another reproduced fear. Someone else celebrated victory. The group watched, understood, remembered. Without knowing it, they had done something decisive. They represented life in order to understand it. It was not yet theater, but everything was already there. The body, emotion, and the gaze of others. From that distant moment on, theater accompanied humanity as a deep necessity. Every civilization reshaped it according to its beliefs, yet all shared the same intuition. When one body acts before other bodies, something essential is revealed. Thousands of years later, in ancient Greece, that ritual impulse took conscious form. In the city of Athens, during the 6th century before Christ, celebrations dedicated to Dionysus, god of wine, ecstasy, and creative chaos included choral songs known as dithyrambs. The chorus sang and narrated together, until one man stepped forward. His name was Thespis. Thespis lived approximately between the year 550 and the year 500 before Christ. He was the first to separate himself from the chorus and speak as an individual character. He introduced dialogue, conflict, and confrontation between voices. Aristotle credited him with the creation of Greek tragedy and remembered him as the first actor in history. Thespis also invented the prologue and, after confronting political power and being exiled by Solon, he climbed onto a cart and traveled from city to city performing his plays. Without realizing it, he invented theatrical touring. From then on, to climb onto the cart of Thespis meant going on tour. During the 5th and 4th centuries before Christ, Greek theatre flourished and gradually freed itself from religious ritual without losing its social function. Tragedy and comedy became essential tools for educating citizens. Aeschylus reflected on justice and fate. Sophocles explored moral conflict. Euripides introduced doubt and human fragility. Aristophanes used laughter to challenge power. Theatres were open-air structures capable of holding up to 18,000 spectators. The state paid the actors and ensured access even for those who could not afford a ticket. The audience cheered, applauded, and participated. The chorus performed in the orchestra, the actors on the scene, and citizens watched from the koilon. Everything was designed so that voice and gesture could reach every corner. On stage, nothing was accidental. Characters were distinguished not only by words or masks, but also by height. Actors wore Cothurni, known in Greek as Cothornoi, platform sandals made of wood or cork that could raise them by up to approximately 10 centimeters. These were not merely practical tools for visibility. They were symbolic language. The higher the Cothurnus, the higher the status of the character. Gods and heroes literally walked above mortals. The actor's body was transformed. Taller, more imposing, removed from everyday reality. Greek theatre did not aim to imitate life, but to magnify it. Masks, made of hardened fabric, exaggerated emotion and amplified the voice through a megaphone-like mouth opening. There were tragic masks, comic masks, satyr masks, and chorus masks. All were symbols. All conveyed meaning. Costume did not decorate, it signified. The importance of theatre in Greek society was so profound that Aristotle, born in the year 384 before Christ, wrote around the year 335 before Christ the Poetics, the first treatise on dramatic art in human history. He understood that theatre does not merely entertain, it organizes human experience through emotion and reflection. Elsewhere in the world, theatre followed different but equally deep paths. In India, performing arts developed in close connection with the body and the sacred. The Natya Shastra, an ancient treatise, described with precision how eyes, hands, and facial muscles should move. Every gesture carried meaning. The actor did not represent, he embodied. Emotion, known as rasa, was transmitted through movement, creating an almost ritual communion with the audience. This conception strongly influenced traditions such as Balinese theatre, where mask, dance, and trance merge into a collective experience. In China, theatre emerged from ancient shamanic rituals and popular celebrations. During the Tang dynasty, between the years 618 and 907 after Christ, Emperor Xuanzong founded the legendary Pear Garden, an imperial academy for performers. Music, dance, acrobatics, poetry, and symbolism fused into a total theatrical form. At the same time, shadow theatre, originating around the 1st century after Christ, turned light into a storyteller, projecting articulated figures onto a screen. Long before cinema, images were already telling stories. In Europe, after the fall of the classical world, theatre did not disappear. Between the 5th and 15th centuries after Christ, during the Middle Ages, it transformed. Initially rejected by the Church for its pagan associations, it was later reclaimed as an educational tool. Inside churches, liturgical dramas appeared. Outside, in streets and squares, mysteries, miracle plays, and moralities were performed. Latin gave way to vernacular languages. Heaven, hell, and earth shared the same stage. Characters such as virtue, sin, and death walked among the audience. Theatre became collective, communal, and alive once again. This medieval theatre laid the foundations for the Renaissance and modern drama. Without it, Shakespeare would be unthinkable. Today, surrounded by screens and digital images, theatre still exists in its most essential form. One body facing other bodies, sharing an unrepeatable moment in time. Every time the lights go down and someone steps onto a stage, the ancient gesture of the cave is repeated. Fire is lit again. Shadows return. And for a brief instant, humanity looks at itself and remembers who it is. That is the mystery of theatre. And as long as someone is willing to perform and someone is willing to watch, theatre will never end.